Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's fast. It's incredibly hot, but it also provides some entertaining racing with the new Atlanta. What we saw in the spring was very, very fun, and this weekend was no different. It was still exciting, a little hard to drive with the cars considering it was hot, but it was an entertaining day with the Georgia boy out on top. Let's talk about the craziness of Atlanta Superspeedway. Number 1, Chase Elliott, Dawsonville, Georgia native, and a member of the Elliott clan, adds his name to the winners of Atlanta Motor Speedway by joining his father, Bill Elliott, as an Atlanta Motor Speedway winner, winning yesterday's Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart in dominating fashion. I mean, flat out dominating the entire event, winning the race over Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, and Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott, the previous couple of weeks, has had some really good momentum. The win at Nashville Superspeedway, which no one expected how he was early in the race until the sun went down with the rain delay. We resumed the race, and he was very, very fast and took the lead late and ended up winning the race. Dominated Road America. Unfortunately, fell off at the end of the final stage and lost it to Tyler Reddick. But this weekend, he came in hungrier to make up for that win that probably should have been his last week, and try to win at his home track, something he had never done in his entire career in NASCAR. And he finally did this weekend by starting off winning the pole because we didn't have any qualifying with weather being a problem the entire weekend. But yesterday, we were able to get the whole thing in and saw Elliott just dominate the race. At the beginning of the race, he was in the top 5 in the majority. Then at the very end of stage 1, he took the lead and continued to hold off all the runs and challenges that he faced behind him, whether it was the bottom lane or the top lane. He kept blocking like he was Earnhardt out there, and he scored the victory in stage 1. Then in stage 2, still ran up front and was ahead of all the chaos that happened behind him, and took the lead late and ended up winning stage 2, while his teammate Alex Bowman actually ended up backing into the wall with a cut tire and took him out of contention. And in the final stage, he remained up at the front, still battling for the lead, got shuffled back to his lowest, 5th at one point, but methodically worked his way back up. He was like the only car I could really see make legit passes out there, even when there are times where there almost be single file, train racing. He would make moves and pass guys and continue to do that lap after lap after lap. That car was so fast. And on the late race restart where he was low as 4th on the restart, a little incursion at the front with Martin Truex Jr. and Corey Lajoie and Ross Chastain getting together, ended up sending Truex a little high out of the groove, and Elliott shot through the middle off of turn 2 and was able to get a lot of momentum and took the lead from Corey Lajoie with 2 laps to go, and it looked like he was going to pretty much try to drive away and prevent anybody from catching him. But in the last lap, a big challenge from behind by Corey Lajoie with a bump from Eric Jones got Lajoie close to Elliott's bumper, and Elliott went up to make a block and sent Lajoie high and then into the pack and caused the caution that ended the race with Elliott in front of Chastain and giving him his 3rd win of the season, his 16th career Cup victory, and his first win again at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was very entertaining, I think, for the entire crowd to see Chase Elliott finally win at his home track. A big weekend for Georgia boys in general. Austin Hill, also a Georgia boy, won the Xfinity race on Saturday after dominating that race. Elliott was just so dominant on Sunday. I mean, this track has now kind of become a super speedway. I've never seen Elliott have that dominant of a car on a super speedway. I mean, the most recent one he ever won was Talladega in 2019 in the spring, and he was really good that day. He wasn't the dominant car, it was Logano, but he was still very, very strong and just got in the right lane at the end of the race and was able to hold off all those guys. And he just had the best car yesterday. I mean, momentum's really on the 9 team right now. And, that Dawsonville pool room was ringing the siren with Rutledge Wood in attendance after Elliott got the victory. And continued to blare on, I'm sure, through the night. And they've got the little poster out there saying Chase Elliott went to Atlanta. I'm sure Bill is very happy to see his son win at a track where his father was very, very successful in the past and, of course, battled for championships. Most recent time that Bill Elliott actually won Atlanta was in 1987, 35 years ago. 35 years later, Chase Elliott wins. And also, another thing I noticed, the most recent win for the 9 car at Atlanta Motor Speedway was 13 years ago in what was then the first ever Labor Day race at Atlanta with Casey Kane behind the wheel. So it's good to see Elliott and the 9 car get back to victory at Atlanta. And there's no denying right now with the momentum and the run he's on, even for the summertime, which he tends to struggle, he's got all the momentum he needs right now that he could be considered the championship favorite. He's the first driver this year with 3 wins, still leads the regular season standings with an extra 15 points, possibly waiting him at the checkered flag at Daytona in the regular season finale. that could carry in more momentum. And let's not forget, we've got some road courses coming up, and Elliott's going to be hungry to win a road course because he hadn't won one yet this year, but he's been fast everywhere we've gone on the road courses. But a great win for Chase Elliott and the 9 team. It was a great day for the Elliott clan at Atlanta. Number 2, Corey Lajoie. So close from a massive opportunity to win. Corey Lajoie has had a struggle of a season trying to get back into the top 30 in points because that's where you need to be. If you win a race, you need to be in the top 30 after Daytona to be playoff eligible. Well, Corey Lajoie nearly got the opportunity yesterday. He was starting the race. He was in the middle of the pack, just kind of cruising around. Then with about 150 laps to go towards the end of Stage 2, beginning of Stage 3, the 7th car showed up inside the top 10 and was putting up a fight with those big boys all day long. Remember, this is Spire Motorsports. They're not a big race team. They don't have a lot of resources. But one thing they do have, Hendrick engines. And that Hendrick engine was very fast in the final stage where he got up in the pack, ran in the top 5, and then was able to pull out and lead some laps in his blueberry energy car. That paint scheme, by the way, very nice paint scheme. But he was very fast at the end of the race yesterday. And a lot of people wondering, if Corey Lajoie does win this race, he could propel himself into the top 30 and shake up the playoff grid once again. We'd have our 6th different winner of the 6th first-time winner of the season and our 14th different winner. He nearly got that opportunity when he was restarting on the bottom lane, and it looked like when Truex got shuffled out that Lajoie was possibly in the catbird seat. But again, Elliott came with a massive run and took the lead through 3 and 4, 1 and 2, and didn't look back. Lajoie put up a fight, and again, at the last lap of the race, coming to the white flag, he got a big bump from behind by Eric Jones and got massive momentum heading off into turn 1 and try to make it past the outside. Elliott came up to block, and it was a little late, but Lajoie got set up into the wall and spun around to the middle of the pack and ended up tearing up a couple cars, and he finished the last car in the lead lap in 21st. It sucks because he honestly deserved to be higher in the race. If he hadn't won the race, he was at least deserving of a 2nd or 3rd place finish. Remember, his best career finish was earlier in this year in the spring at this track. He finished 5th, and he nearly was 4 spots higher at the checker flag yesterday, but unfortunately didn't happen. But he thanked his crew, Ryan Sparks and the 17, for giving him a phenomenal race car. I mean, they were legit the final stage of that race. They had a car capable of winning if things had gone their way. Unfortunately didn't. Now, he was asked whether or not was the block by Elliott fair or foul. Lajoie called it fair. He said it was a fair block. He said, if I was in his position and he was trying to do that to me at the very end, I would have done the same thing. I would have done everything in my power to try to hold him off if I was in his shoes leading the race on that white flag lap, which that's fair. But I felt like I do agree with Lajoie. It was a fair block. It wasn't like Elliott literally just slid up the track saying, nope. He just kind of drifted up trying to block him, which you kind of have to do, especially that this type of Atlanta racing we've got now. But he went to victory lane afterward, congratulated Elliott on the victory, and they both, smiling, kind of laughing about the very end. I mean, they're both relatively, nice with each other. They're like good guys. They never had a problem with one another. So it was just to see good sportsmanship in victory lane between Elliott and Lajoie. I wonder if Lajoie will have Elliott on his podcast, Stacking Pennies, the next couple days to talk about that. But it was still a good day for Corey Lajoie. The finish doesn't dictate how well they ran. They ran very well yesterday. But one thing this does do, it gives Lajoie a little fire and this team to bring their best come the regular season finale at Daytona, which is honestly the next opportunity he's going to have to try to win a race. He is a really good super speedway racer that sometimes just doesn't run up front a lot, but at the very end, you'll see Lajoie possibly in the top 5 or the top 10. Heck, last year in the regular season finale at Daytona, he was up front a lot and actually led a couple of laps and was pulling the pack on the inside, being the leader in that train, and stayed up towards the front for a lot. So I think Lajoie's got a good chance to win the regular season finale at Daytona if things work out for him. But with the Hendrick engine that he had yesterday, if they could bring that kind of speed to the regular season finale, don't rule out Corey Lajoie winning the regular season finale at Daytona. They've got a chance. But it was still, regardless of the finish, a career run for Corey Lajoie and Spire Motorsports. Keep your head high, boys. You ran damn well yesterday. Number 3, Ross Chastain. Consistent finish, but making people mad again. This has been a recurring theme for Ross Chastain in his 2022 season. Very strong, competing for wins, running for top 5s, top 10s, but also driving people insane. He did the same thing again yesterday, running up at the front, leading a lot of laps, battling up front with the guys. At the beginning of stage 2, in turns 1 and 2, bump drafting Truex from behind in the 6th spot, got into the back of Truex and sent Truex around into the pack, starting a big collision that took out Austin Dillon and caught down other guys like Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Michael McDowell. The rest of them were able to continue, with the exception being Austin Dillon. Dillon said, I figured it was Chastain, considering how he drives. So Dillon was pretty upset. And then late in the race, even with some of that damage, Chastain was battling up front for the win in a possible top 5, when in turns 3 and 4, with 15 to go, he slid up the track and got into, you guessed it, Denny Hamlin, who was content for a possible top 5 run, or maybe the win if things had gone his way. Hamlin went around, sent Brad Keselowski around 2. Hamlin settled for a top 25 finish, while Chastain ended up finishing 2nd. Hamlin, once again, very vocal about Ross Chastain. He said, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I've had it with him, and he possibly will be getting payback in the near future by this 11 car. I mean, it sounds like Denny Hamlin is up to had it with him and Ross Chastain and how they race each other. I mean, Chastain kind of owed up to what happened at the very end. I mean, the same thing, though, happened with these guys at Gateway, where Chastain got into Hamlin early on in the race in turns 1 and 2. Hamlin hit the wall, and Hamlin the rest of the race with a damaged car kept messing with Chastain, trying to prevent him from finishing or trying to wreck him. It didn't happen. Chastain ended up getting a top 10, but in minute post-race, I know I'm fast, and I know we've got cars capable of winning, but I need to stop making stupid mistakes. The same thing over and over. Well, it happened again yesterday, and he did owe up to it, but people wonder, does he need to lower on his aggression? Same thing that has happened the previous weekend with Noah Gragson. It is an Xfinity incident at Road America that ended up him dumping Sage Karam and taking out other guys that didn't deserve to be involved, and that resulted in Noah getting a 30-point penalty in drivers and owners' points, as well as being fined $35K. Does Ross Chastain need to lower his aggression level? No, but lower the aggression level on how you drive aggressively as far as dumping a guy versus just bump drafting him. But sometimes with this type of racing that we have now at Atlanta, it's kind of hard to tell if he did it intentionally or if it was just like a fair bump. Unfortunately, it's a bump gone wrong. But you can't bump draft in the corners because you see why. It starts wrecks like that. But it was a good run for Chastain, but unfortunately, he's got people pissed at him, and we'll find out if he can still be smart and aggressive and not make people upset at him. It remains to be seen how the rest of the season is going to turn out for him if he keeps this up. Number 4, Austin Cindric started out the race really bad. Was at one point the last car in the running order on the lead lap in 36. Turned that car that was junk at the beginning into a top 3 podium finish. Austin Cindric the last couple of weeks, folks, we haven't really been paying attention to him. He's been getting some solid results. A 5th at Sonoma, a 7th place at Nashville and Road America, and a podium finish yesterday in Atlanta Motor Speedway from a car. Again, that was literally the last car lead lap early on in stage 1 in 36th place before this competition caution came out. Cindric ran up at the front. It looked like at times he had a car capable of winning. Remember, he has a win this year, the Daytona 500, a super speedway package similar to this one. He ran very, very well at the end of that race yesterday, and he's on a roll with some solid results lately. If he can keep this up, he could be a guy to watch for, especially when we go back to Daytona for the regular season finale to get another win to help him come to the playoffs. But it was a good run for the 2 team yesterday, and they really needed that guy. Like, ever since the 500 win, they haven't really had a lot of good results, and I know he's still learning because he's a rookie in the Cup Series as a full-time competitor. But yesterday and the previous 3 weeks, the 2 team has got some momentum with some solid results. Keep it up, boys. Maybe you'll be talking about you being a contender come playoffs. And number 5, the racing in Atlanta, the action in Atlanta. In the spring, we saw a lot of intense action with this new type of racing, kind of super speedway racing in Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track that in the past has been known for wearing out quickly and chewing up the tires and causing a lot of handling problems. Well, in the spring race, we didn't see a whole lot of that. We saw a lot of guys bunched together. We did see some tire failures, but we also saw some productive racing and some intense action at the very end of that race. Well, the same thing happened yesterday. A lot of action, a lot of wrecks. Of course, I mentioned the Chastain Truex wreck in turns 1 and 2 in stage 2, and there was another wreck towards the end of that stage that took out guys like William Byron, Tyler Reddick, who got his first Cup win last weekend, Ty Dillon, Garrett Smithley, who at one point was in the top 15, Kyle Larson was a part of it, but he still continued on. Brad Keselowski and Bubba Wallace, although they continued on. There was a lot of intense action yesterday. I mean, this new Atlanta Motor Speedway is made for some interesting racing. But one thing I did notice in the race yesterday, there was some handling. We saw it in the Xfinity Series race. There were some handling issues for some of these guys. I think it mostly was because the hot slick track, it was the summertime in Atlanta. It probably played a factor in how those cars ran, but even like the clean air and track position really meant everything yesterday. Kind of not like what we had in the spring race. I mean, track position of course matters, but still guys who get shuffled to the back and worked their way to the front. It was a little bit tough yesterday, but there was a lot of comers and goers and a lot of productive, solid racing all around. People are still wondering, is this the right future for Atlanta Motor Speedway going forward, this being a super speedway type race? Or do we need to experiment and maybe run the first race next year without a tapered spacer to slow the cars down and bunch them together and just let them go on and run the 670 horsepower package? That's a question that remains to be answered. We don't know. In my opinion, I enjoy the new Atlanta. It's made it more fun to watch these Atlanta races than it has in the past. Of course, everyone loves to tire fall off and a lot of guys slipping and sliding around, but sometimes the guy that wins the race is at least 5 seconds ahead of second place. You want to see them bunched together, and that's what we got with this new Atlanta, and I like it. I know some of you like it, some of you don't, but that's okay. We're allowed to have our own opinions. But I enjoyed the new Atlanta very, very much. It's providing some of the best racing that we've ever seen at this racetrack. So, playoffs are coming up, folks. Time's running out to win a race. Next weekend, we're off to Magic Mile County, Loudon, New Hampshire, the Magic Mile, where we're going to be seeing drivers slipping and sliding on this fast 1 mile track that's flat. And I think the guys are going to have their hands full, and a big trophy is waiting them in victory lane. Fresh lobster. So big questions entering the race. Can Martin Truex Jr. or Kevin Harvick, guys that have run well in Atlanta in the past, and Harvick a former winner there, they get to victory lane and lock themselves in the playoffs? Can Eric Almirola pull a rabbit's hat out of his helmet and do what he did last year and pull off an upset win and lock himself in the playoffs for his final season? Or will Chase Elliott, on this momentum, with a win, a second, and another win, carry him into New Hampshire and win at a track where he's kind of had some struggles in the past? All those questions will be answered by the end of next weekend. It'll be a fun race, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and this could be possibly one of the best New Hampshire races we've seen since the 2020 event. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Subscribe, like, and congrats once again to Chase Elliott and the 9 team on their impressive, dominating win at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go racing!